Where's your playlist taking you? Down the highway? To the mountains? Or just into daydream mode while you're stuck in traffic? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western is there to help you make the most of your getaway, wherever that is. Because the only thing better than a great playlist is a great trip. Life's the trip. Make the most of it at Best Western. Book direct and save at bestwestern.com.
Hello, welcome to a brand spanking new episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. Ooh, if this is your first time being baptized in the pool of mayhem, come on in, sugar, the water is fine. Let me go on ahead and tell you what you're in for. You see, every Wednesday, I'm going to bring you the story of a heinous, diabolical, and downright audacious serial offender that you may have never heard of. And you know what? That's okay, because that's what I am here for. Your hostess with the mostest, bringing you all the tea on prolific melanated criminals and the terrible crimes that they committed that the mainstream media skipped right on by in most cases. And oh, if you have heard of the Mayhem Maker, I can promise you this. You haven't heard the story the way I'm gonna tell it, baby. You see, I am on a mission, a one-woman band out here trying to dispel this myth that there are certain types of crimes that black people don't commit. Tomfoolery and shenanigans and just outright lies, because, baby, we have been committing serial shenanigans since Adam and Eve was over there with that damn fruit salad. So go on ahead and get comfortable, because you are in for a treat today. Okay. Ooh, I can hardly contain myself. New Nation! What's up, Sugarfoots? Ooh, I have missed y'all so much. Sweet black Jesus, I am so glad to be back in the number one again. Your girl is refreshed a little bit. It was touch and go there for a while, though. You know, life was life, and, you know, when everything is going along smoothly, and then bam, all hell just breaks loose. And for me, it was with my car. You see, I'm the type, I will drive it till the wheels fall off and still try to fix it. And I think the entire month of March, every week, my car would break. And just when I was getting off work after midnight, right? I'd get my mechanic to come fix it or whatever, wherever it died, because it always died on the street. It would be okay, and then bam, it's down again. So after replacing damn near everything under the hood except the engine and the transmission and a $500 tow, it died on me again last Thursday. Now, I don't know what the hell happened. I hit a pothole and it sounded like my car was trying to give birth to a pipe or something through the engine. Like, it legit died on me. I rolled into a gas station and pushed it into a parking space. Let me tell you something. Done, and done. I can't put another quarter into that car. And so I told the man at the counter what had happened, and then I took my tag off the car, and I walked away. I'm over it. I got somebody coming tomorrow. Well, today, because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, but later on today to come pick it up, I just junked it. The hell with it. So, you know, now it means I got to go get a car. And I absolutely hate car shopping. I really hate car dealerships. So for the rest of the week, I was researching and narrowing down my cars and whatever. And so Saturday was 404 day in Atlanta. And what I thought I was going to do was be out here frolicking in these hot Atlanta streets. It was not to be. I was going from car lot to car lot, just test driving. But baby, I found my new baby and I love it, but I really, 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 really hate car notes. Ain't nothing in this world like a paid for a car. But you know what? Thank you, Black Jesus, for the ability to go and get me something. Amen. So y'all keep listening to them ads over there on Spotify so the country girl can make these payments. Let's see, what do we have today for church announcements? The story series is blowing up. Let me find out. See, let me tell you something. I love Melanin Mayhem. It's my bread and butter. And other than a few tweaks here and there, nothing is changing about it or its format. But, you know, it's time to do some things and branch out a little bit. And even though it's hard to believe, there are some people who just don't get down with true crime like that, and that's okay. I got a little something for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because several of y'all out here in the newer nation tell me that y'all fall asleep listening to me. So I'm thinking, I want y'all to have sweet dreams. Let's do something a little less gruesome, a little less taxing on the soul. Everybody ain't built like us, and so I wanted to create something that more people we can bring into the New Orleans nation, and they could also enjoy it, right? And like I said, the response that I have been getting has been positive. Thank you for all of you who have subscribed. Trust and believe we're going to make that subscription site a little bit more robust. I'm going to add some additional clips and things over there. So y'all just hold on for just a second. It's coming. And guess what? If you would like to get down, you can subscribe to Melanin Mayhem Podcast.supercast.com. That link will also be in the show notes. Let's see, what else? Over the last 3 weeks, I've been able to get some really good research and done a lot of writing. And I've also finally figured out what I want to do for the video aspect of the pod. I'm putting that together now, waiting on a few Amazon packages to come in or whatnot. So that will be dropping in the next couple of weeks. I promise y'all what I'm trying to do is to be less of a perfectionist and just go with the flow. But I ain't even gonna hold you cousins. That shit is easier said than done. I am a Virgo and I can't help it. So y'all just pray for me. Also, please follow me on Spotify. They can be real shady over there. They show me graphics for the analytics for the show, and they say like, you have this many followers, but similar shows like yours have this many followers. Basically, they're telling me to step my game up. So if you can, please give your girl a follow over there on Spotify. I told y'all that Mafia is serious. Don't forget there is a fabulous discussion group over on Facebook, Melanin Mayhem Podcast discussion group. Gone on ahead and request to get in, and I promise you, I got you. I think that's all I got. Oh, wait. Don't forget Melanin Mayhem Podcast for all your merch and your copy for the e-guide from Case to Compelling. Many of you have a concept for a podcast or a story that you want to tell, and you're just looking for a little guidance to get you on that road to where you want to be in this podcast game. From Case to Compelling can help you on your journey. I think that is everything. They said I need to say those things first, while y'all fresh and whatever. So, I did what I needed to do. So, without further ado, let's get into the reason for the streaming. Okay, so the trifling scallywag I got for y'all today, he didn't play fair. He called audibles after the play was set. I'm talking flag on the motherfucking play. See, our mayhem maker, he lived in the hood, and hood shit go down in the hood. The ladies that were purveyors of the pussy, they would be out advertising or whatever, and he would hit them up, request a couple of services, accept the contract terms, and when they got down to the business at hand, here he go flipping the script. And he had a way of doing things. He'd be out hunting in the wee hours of the morning. You know that time of night or early morning when it's last call for draws. It don't matter what you out there selling, coke or coochie. When that time of the morning comes and you about ready to go in because you done served all the customers you gonna serve for the night, and then that one last straggler pull up on you and you like, okay, I'm gonna serve this last one and I'm gonna be out. And normally the sale goes through and then you can go and hit the house. I don't know because I ain't out here selling, but from my research. But when it came to this Negro I'm going to tell y'all about today, he ain't play like that. All of these crimes I'm about to tell you about happened within a 2-mile radius of his house. And this ain't no new concept in the world of serial offending. We have seen this before. These sick, twisted individuals tend to hunt in their backyards because it's convenient. And so today I got another tale of a serial killing killer for your listening pleasure. So without further ado, drag into the front of the congregation for a proper drag session. This week's Melanin Mayhem maker is Mr. Anthony Balaam, aka the Trenton Strangler. Okay, New One Nation, let's get into it, shall we? Anthony Balaam was born July 9th, 1965 in Trenton, New Jersey. Don't know much about his background, who his people name was, not really. I know that his mama was Betty Balaam and his daddy was a dude named Lucius. Lucius was a daddy in sperm donations only. Word on the curb is that his mama was for the streets and Aunt and his two brothers was on their own. They were raised pretty much in a bunch of roach and rat infested apartments as they bounced around from pillar to post. So, as far as schooling goes, his education was limited. He was said to have repeated the 4th and the 7th grade and then just went on ahead and dropped out in the 8th grade. So basically, Ant was feral. He grew into a young man that would do little odd jobs and, nothing really stable, just enough to split on some rent and support a growing addiction. And when we run up on Ant, it's in the 90s when he was in his 30s. So just to set the scene a little bit, we're talking about the hood in the 90s, and we know it was full of dope, specifically to that crackety crack. We talking 90s, so this is like second generation crackheads. These were the ones that smoked crack as a profession, all loud and proud, just full-time ashy cracking smokers. You know what I'm saying? and it was what it was. And while today's connoisseurs of the crack rock are members in good standing in most communities, back then, them second generation crack smokers, they was the YNs of the era. Yeah, they was wild as fuck. And the ones that made it out, they are the grannies and grandpappies of today. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate y'all. Glad you made it out because it was wild back then. But all of that to say, it was some wild shit going on, and this is just one of them Dell stories. And Ant liked to hit the pipe. He did. And he, even though he was a crack smoker, he managed to find the lid to his pipe. Ant found love. Managed to have a long-term relationship. His girlfriend, her name was Keisha White, and they had 2 children together. And Keisha had been kicking it for like 10 years. So old girl was present in his life when he was out here with these shenanigans around the neighborhood that I'm about to tell you about. So if smoking crack was Anthony's only cross to bear, then maybe he wouldn't be on an episode of Melanin Mayhem. But you see, Ant had another problem. Ant had a fucking problem. Y'all remember that song by 2 Chainz, right? Double entendre there, yeah. He had a problem with fucking women that use that funky monkey for prosperity. See, y'all know, I always say an even swap ain't no swindle, but in this case, shit wasn't even. See, they had goodies for sale, and Ant acted like he was going to spend a little something or use the barter system, trade a little crack for a little crack. And he was willing to let them hit the pipe if they was willing to let him hit the cheeks. And again, what consenting adults do with their private parts ain't no issue as long as everybody is willing and the shit is on the up and up. But you see, Ant also had another little problem that was putting him in, shall we say, predicament with his fucking problem. See, he wanted to participate, but shall we say he couldn't always rise to the occasion. And that's when the shit would go left. Because time is money. We ain't got all day to be waiting around for you to get ready to. And like most fuckboys, he would get mad and be all in his feelings when his manhood was in question. But you see, Ant took the shit too far. And from what we know, it all started October 24th, 1994. Karen Denise Patterson was 41 years old when she ran up on Ant. Like I said, Ant cruising around the hood, pulled up on her, asked her what that mouth do. She told him, she got that fire, and if his money was right, shit, he could taste the rainbow. And, Ant, he wanted to know if she liked to suck on the pipe as well as the pipe. And she was like, hell yeah, what we doing? So they land on a price of $5 for a little hide to salami. So she and Ant, they go off looking for a more secluded spot to go handle this little business. And say Ant found a spot over there by the old Magic Marker Factory. They start getting down to the business at hand, and this nigga Ant can't rise to the occasion. Now, Karen thinking she about to get lit, and then Ant can't do shit. So she ready to go, and she tell Ant that he taking too long. Well, Anthony don't like that. He mad at her because he's suffering from a case of erectile dysfunction. Now he want a refund. Well, Karen was like, shit, nigga, you just wasted my time and I ain't got nothing out the deal. Fuck that. And so, again, Ant mad, so he push her on the ground and proceeds to try to force this little limp noodle to do something. Karen down here cussing and carrying on, trying to get up. Nigga, move. What the fuck is you doing? Move that little shit out the way. And then this puss-ass nigga Ant pull out a blade. Now, this a flag on the motherfucking play, Ant. You changing the terms of the agreement. It ain't your fault that soldier won't salute. So he forces her to have sex at knife point. And then this motherfucker turned her water off, strangled her. And then he raped her anally. Motherfucker. They found Karen in a vacant lot. Again, Anthony had raped her. He had strangled her. And if that wasn't enough, his punk ass stole her watch and then left her in a field over there off of Bernard Street.
Life is full of choices, but the choice between getting crispy chicken nuggets or a Crunchwrap Slider isn't one you'll have to make. The new Crispy Chicken Crunchwrap Slider at Taco Bell. All white meat chicken nuggets, breaded in tortilla chips, wrapped up, sauce and all, inside a slider-sized Crunchwrap. Choose from creamy chipotle or jalapeno honey mustard. Well, there we go. Life, still full of choices. The new Crispy Chicken Crunchwrap Slider. A brand new classic. Only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time and while supplies last.
5 months later, 29-year-old Valentina Kuya. Her people called her Tina. Here she is, yet another victim of this puss-ass nigga Anthony. Once again, he out here cruising the streets in the wee hours of the morning, looking for a victim. Sir, you got children. Why you ain't at home? You got an old lady. Why you not at home? You can get your crack rock and go home and smoke it in the bathroom or whatever, out there on the porch. What is you doing? Either way, he come up on Tina. Tina selling, he buying, right? They agreed on a little $8 trip to Skeet City. Tina go off with him and Tina get paid up front, right? And they get on with the completing of this transaction. Well, somewhere in the middle of the servicing, some shit went left. And I'm thinking again that we got us another little limp noodle type of situation, because here go Tina ready to go. And enraged that she ain't impressed with his performance, he grabs Tina by her throat, rapes her backdoor style, and then choked her ass over into the ancestral plane. Now, you know what? That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. I mean, that's some bullshit. Oof. They found Tina the next day behind an abandoned house over on Allen Street. Now, ain't that just some trifling shit? Like, how the fuck does someone just take someone's life and just move on? Like, go home, flip some channels and shit. But wait, cause you ain't heard what this diabolical Negro did next. Now, they found Tina's body because of an anonymous tip. Guess who the fuck called the goddamn tip in? That goddamn Anthony. The raping raper that just raped and killed Tina called in and let them know where to find the body. Like he a good Samaritan or something. Just trifling. That is so diabolical. Ooh, honey. And guess what? I still ain't done. Because the following month, Not even a whole month. We talking April 10th, 1995. That's the date when he turned off 27-year-old Concetta Haywood's water. They called her Connie. And how this shit went down was messy as fuck. Not like none of the rest of them ain't been messy, but this one messy too. So Connie has a room over at the Hill Motel over on Broad Street. Aunt say he feeling froggy or whatever, so he went and got $40 worth of crack. And he walk around the block trying to see who want to get geeked with him, right? Concetta was like, shit, bet, nigga, run it. And I got somewhere where we can go smoke that shit. So they go back to her room over at the goddamn motel, right? They do what they do, and here we go again. Aunt can't do what Aunt need to do. Concetta like, well, shit, nigga, you got to go, because, hell, time is money, and I can go get me somebody else. He get mad. Next thing you know, they find her in her room. Now, they say Concetta had about $20 on her. I'm thinking, maybe it was a slow night or whatever. Anthony done took this woman's money after taking her, because, again, he liked to do that backdoor banging. So he done took her in the most vile and violent of ways, strangled her out, and then took the last $20 she had. Trifling funky bastard. Now, for reasons unknown at the time, around July of 1995, Anthony moved to Detroit. He just up and left Trenton. Now, I don't know, maybe he went there for a job. I mean, because he did have an old lady and some children, and to be up and dipping off, there better have been a good reason. But whatever the reason was, the shit must not have worked out, because Anthony was back in Trenton in January of 1996. What that is, like 7 months later? And here you go, the following month, February 16th, 1996, a woman out here doing what she do got set up for that same disconnect play, but somehow, some way, she managed to get away from Anthony and ran to the police and told them what happened to her. Now, what made them link her assault to the unsolved murders, you may ask? Well, like I said, it's the MO. Anthony's MO is to rape and to strangle. And like I said, he a booty busting bandit. So yeah, he out here sodomizing all his victims. That's his signature move. So here this woman is telling the police that she just had to run for her life because a trick pulled a switcheroo on her ass and tried to kick in her back door while he was strangling her. Baby, I don't know, but old girl must have had a praying grandmother, because even though Anthony had her pent down and on the stairway to heaven, she was able to break free and get away and live to see another day and help put his disgusting ass up under the jail. So, while they was in the background, because the police are actually working this case, right? It wouldn't be solved before Anthony took his next victim, though. On July 29th, 1996, a woman named Catherine, she in her house, minding her business. Her phone rings, right? It's a neighbor that lived right around the way. We're going to call this the neighborhood watch call. And I imagine the conversation went a little something like this. Ring. Hey, Cat. Hey, friend. Hey, girl, you been in your backyard today? No, girl, why? Child, you need to go out there and see what that is lying in the street right there in that lot right next to beside your house. Now, we already know that Miss Busybody on the phone probably know what this is out here in Miss Catherine's backyard. Well, Miss Catherine get up and she go look out the back door, and what she sees is what looks like a woman laying down on like where the concrete and the grass meet. And so Miss Cat looking and it looked like a child. After Miss Cat go investigate, come to find out it's an even worse day for 37-year-old Deborah Ann Walker. They called her Little Debbie. I got an auntie named Deborah Ann. All the women in my family, on my mom's side of the family named Ann. You know what? That is not the point. According to what Anthony say happened. Now, I'm going to tell you now, according to Aunt, funds was low. So he say he was about to go do something strange for a little piece of change to go get him a rock or two. And one of his peeps was like, nah, man, you ain't got to do that. So they gave him a little something to go cop something, right? So he get his rock, and Lil Debbie must have seen it or felt the nigga was ready to load up or whatever. And she ran up on Aunt and was basically like, you know what, if you got some dope, you can stroke. And Aunt was like, bet. So they go behind the house, and according to Aunt, he gave the dope to Debbie to fire it up first. He said he see her light the pipe, but wasn't no crack on it, right? He said Debbie done pocketed the rock and was trying to flim-flam him with some residue. So Aunt say that shit set him the fuck off, and he just crashed out on her. Gave her a 2-piece and a biscuit, and the next thing he knew, his hands was around her neck, and then she was unconscious on the ground, right there next to Miss Catherine's house. And that is, of course, what Miss Catherine found her after that little neighborhood watch phone call. And Lil Debbie was sure enough lit, because I'm telling you, Miss Catherine thought it was a child that she was looking at from her back door. But I got to tell you, Anthony, getting back to your pussy ass, your recollection of how it all went down seems to be missing a few key details, honey. Lil Debbie was a little more than unconscious, baby. She was dead. They found her behind a house in a vacant lot on Stuyvesant Avenue, just 5 houses down from your crib. And in the midst of your crashing out, some way, somehow, you ended up with your dick in her booty. And even then, that ain't all. Because your trifling, pussy, limp-dick motherfucking ass had to take it a step further. It wasn't enough to rape her the way you raped her. Y'all, this trifling ass nigga took the last piece of change out of Deborah Ann's pockets, too. $4 funky. Must have been a slow night for Deb. Maybe she was just getting started. I don't know. Maybe she had just tipped out. I don't know. It don't even matter. He didn't have to take that woman $4. And if she pocketed the rock, where was it? I mean, surely if you done ran her pockets for her $4, you ran her pockets for the rock. You ain't said nothing about the goddamn rock. I know this. You took them $4 back to the dope man. You took off this dead woman, and you got some more dope. What kind of dope was they selling out here for $4? What they giving you, residue? Not the point. Either way, you killed that woman. You raped that woman. You took her money, and then you went back to the dope man, got some more rock, and went home and smoked it and just chilled, like nothing happened. Ugh. Sweet black Jesus. Moving on. Now I gotta tell y'all, like I said, the Trenton PD was doing the work. We know in plenty of these situations, the police don't do the work, and they don't give two shits about melanated women on the margins who lose their lives. And so when we see them doing their jobs, we got to give credit where credit is due. But so yeah, finally, after like 2 years of women coming up dead and raped and murdered, the police are close. And I mean, with the description that the victim, the woman who got away, the description she gave them, and them out there just actually hitting the streets and working all the angles, as well as the almighty definitive not alleged test, better known as DNA, they found their way to Anthony's front door. Finally! And on August 8th, 1996, just 11 days after they found Deborah Ann, Lil Debbie, another aunt, this one named Detective Anthony Manzo, he picked up Anthony Balaam's trifling, booty-banging, murdering ass from the house he lived at with his roommate over at 421 Stuyvesant Avenue in Trenton. Took him in for questioning about a couple of rapes. Because, yeah, another woman had come forward to say that Aunt tried her, too. So they say when the detective got there, say Anthony was very polite and cooperative with the cops. No fight in him at all. Just a whole bunches of please and thank yous. When they got him in the box and they started asking him questions, you know, like the popo do when you in the hot seat, you know, they hit him with the, I guess you know why we want to talk to you. Real generic, you know. The plan was to ask him about the first rape with old girl in February and then that newest allegation and just see where that took him. This nigga Aunt said some shit that threw the plan all off. His response to that little question was like, yeah, y'all want to talk about that girl you found in the alley last week, huh? Deborah Ann was the woman they had found last week. And they was like, well, damn, you know, the cops didn't even have to do no foreplay to get Aunt to get down to the nitty gritty before kicking this thing off into the deep water. So they was like, shit, all right, nigga, let's swim. And that nigga Aunt, he ain't tried to play coy or nothing. He was not there to play like he wasn't the murdering murderer that murdered these women. And after they told him the chick that he raped got away and had already identified him as the pussy snatching, disconnecting son of a bitch that tried to turn her water off, oh, honey, he let it all hang out. Aunt was like, you know what? I think about it all the time. I killed these women. I'll never forget it. I bet you won't. I mean, Aunt was in that mug singing like the rent was due. He told them everything. He told them that he was just full of rage. And when he was with these women, he felt powerful. He felt that he had an overwhelming power over these women. And when they asked him about, that gap between Connie and Deborah Ann, he told them that, hey, I had left Trenton and went to Detroit. And they was like, well, what you left for? Remember, we didn't know why he left. Well, we know now. Aunt told him that he felt that if he didn't get the hell out of Dodge, he was just going to end up killing more women. Well, damn, Aunt. But you did. You indeed brought your raping and killing ass right back to Trenton and went right back on raping and killing. I mean, he claimed that he killed Denise by accident. Said when she was trying to get away, he just put his hands around her throat to make her be quiet. Baby, this nigga was just the most polite. It was dumbfounding. The deputy police chief, his name was Joseph Constance. Joe said after talking with Aunt, this man said, quote, he was one of the calmest and coolest murderers that I've encountered in 27 years on the job. This dude shows absolutely no remorse and comes off as a nice guy. End quote. What? Now, mind you, while Ant is in the precinct spilling his guts, one of his fans was outside. A one-woman protest. This woman named Priscilla Hollis was outside literally hollering, free Anthony. Free my nigga Ant. When the reporter put the mic in front of Priscilla, here she go talking about, he would never do anything like that. I think they made him confess. He's a drug addict, not a killer. Bitch. See, this the shit I be talking about. How you out here cheerleading for a nigga that's inside telling all the business? You all loud and fucking wrong. Campaigning out here for the guilty motherfucker. You smoke crack, don't you? Don't you smoke crack? Aunt must have had that good when it worked, boy. Well, like, maybe it was a one-hitter quitter. I mean, literally, he in here telling all the details of these crimes, how he left the bodies, what they had on, what he did to them. And you out here with all this stupidity wrapped up in nerve and gall to be fixing your lips to save a killing killer that killed a volleyball team full of women. Just dick riding for no good reason at all. Ugh. They ended up charging Anthony Balaam with 4 counts of murder, 5 counts of aggravated assault, and 3 counts of robbery for taking them women's money, as well as weapons charges because he had a knife. He was held without bail at first, and then at his first bail hearing, they let him know that his sorry ass wasn't going nowhere. He all up in the courtroom smirking and shit, and then Judge Thomas DeMartin hit him with a $500,000 cash bail for each murder charge. Yeah, they hit that nigga with a $2 million bail. That's what I call a sit your ass down somewhere bail while you wait on your chance to crank up the jury. And also at this little bail hearing was Aunt's longtime girlfriend or baby mama, whatever you want to call her, Miss Keisha White. Baby, Keisha was sick. You can see the pictures, baby. Keisha was up in that motherfucker sick. Her flabber was gasted, pearls clutched, and ripped off because she just could not wrap her head around the fact that the nigga they got up in this courtroom talking about all these heinous crimes was her baby daddy. The nigga that smoked too much and worked too little. The one that didn't raise his voice and wouldn't hurt a flea was the Trenton Strangler. Keisha, I feel for you, girl. You thought you had Lil Red riding in the hood, and turns out you was fucking with the wolf the whole damn time. Girl. Well, we know that dick worked at some point. He got 2 children. Not the point. and you know, wait a minute. Let's get back to the legalities of this here serial situation. Speaking in historical context, your boy Anthony did a little something and put himself in the record books. You know, even though they didn't want to say it, you know, they being the police, they finally had to admit that Anthony Balaam was a serial killer. Trenton, New Jersey's first serial killer. Congratulations, Anthony. Take a bow, nigga. In the meantime, in between time, the Trenton cops, they reaching out to their brothers in blue in Detroit because, you know, remember, Ant had spent a little time over there and they just wanted to let them know about what he had been doing in Trenton because, you know, maybe, just maybe, they might have had a few unsolved cases of rape and strangulation that maybe Anthony was responsible for. And Detroit PD said that they would look into the matter, but they came back and said, you know, we all good. All our rape and murder cases are president accounted for. All right, well, I guess good for you, Detroit. And while Detroit wasn't thinking about Anthony, 20 minutes down the road from Trenton, though, Bristol Township in Pennsylvania, they was like, shit, hold up, wait a minute, we might have some cases in it. See, they had 2 murders of women of the night, and they kind of fit the description because, you know, they was raped and had signs of strangulation. But they ended up saying nah to Ant too because those 2 ladies had caught a bullet and Ant was more of a knife man. So about a year later, the district attorney made it known that he was going for a state-sponsored disconnection for Anthony Balaam. The final accounting of his charges would be 22 counts in total, 4 counts of capital murder, 4 counts of felony murder, 12 counts of aggravated sexual assault. They must have charged him by the stroke. Stop, Nate. 2 counts of possession of a weapon for unlawful purpose. Funny, they didn't hit him with the robbery charge for them $28 in that watch that his sticky finger ass took off the victims. I'm saying, you done hit him with everything else. Why not that? Anyway, the arraignment was September 11th, 1997, and Ant pled not guilty to all charges. He's still up in the courtroom looking and acting unbothered by the whole situation. But oh baby, all of that would soon change because 9 months later, in June of 1998, Anthony apparently tried to off himself at the Mercer County Jail. Now, suicide is a very serious thing, you know. A lot of people suffer from depression and they think that's the only way out, but you don't get to go out like that once you have committed such serial diabolical crimes. And in my heart of hearts, I don't know how much thought Anthony put into his attempt anyway, or maybe it was just a case of using what was available to him, but he didn't do it in, dare I say, the traditional way motherfuckers that come up self-switched off do. You know, usually in jail it's by hanging by, you know, a bed sheet or something, a belt or something like that. Not your boy Ant. Anthony Balaam took the little clasp that's on the ace bandage. Y'all know when you get an ace bandage and you roll it out and it got that little silver clasp to hold it tight. Yeah, that. Anthony took that and nicked his face and tried to slash his wrist. Nigga. Sir. Anthony, I have seen the clip that comes with the ace bandage. You might as well have tried to use a plastic butter knife for better results than that goddamn little clip would do. I mean, that shit ain't gonna do nothing but maybe give you a paper cut, a motherfucking hangnail. Most assuredly ain't gonna help you get to the upper room, or in your case, the lower room. Needless to say, he was not successful in his endeavor, and they shipped his ass off to a psychiatric hospital in Trenton for further evaluation. It would be another almost 2 years before Anthony would finally get the opportunity to crank up the jury. May 3rd, 2000, this self-proclaimed crack-addicted, sodomizing serial killer of Trenton was on deck. Just the previous week before trial started, they went to Anthony with a deal that would have given him 4 consecutive prison terms of 30 years each for each murder. That'd have been 120 years, basically life. But this nigga Anthony felt that he had a better chance with a jury. I know his lawyers had to been like, nigga, take the deal. They're gonna give your ass that hot shot and make you go night night forever, my guy. I'm just saying, you better trust and believe they're gonna try you. But no, not Anthony. He wanna go and have his day in court. Oh, okay. Baby, the trial opened with a bang, honey, because it came out that yeah, Ant liked to pick up them sex workers, but he was also a sex worker himself. Say Ant would get out there on that stroll sometime and let them know what that mouth do. Like I said, things that consenting adults do is their business. But the side eye of it all, Anthony, ooh, my dude, I would think that would give you a unique perspective. I mean, you understand the job as a fellow purveyor of the penis, and you out here turning up on the purveyors of the pussy. Just trifling and two-faced than a motherfucker. Ooh, child, Keisha, girl. I know you just about fell through the floor when you heard your baby daddy was out here on the host roll doing a little something strange for a little piece of change. Ooh, my Lord, today, honey. His court-appointed lawyers, they tried to do whatever they could do to make things easier on Anthony. They tried to get the confession thrown out. They were talking about they didn't give him his Miranda rights. All that shit was denied. The judge was like, not only did he confess, he signed and initialed twice on the Miranda card, and in his confession, that motherfucker Ant, not only did he confess, he also gave a shout out to the cops in writing, saying that the police treated him with A1 courtesy and utmost respect. Nigga. Not you out here filling out a compliment card at the cop shop. Like, for real? A1 service. Nigga, boy. Judge Thomas Kelly, he was like, look at here. They said that shit, he said that shit, and that shit staying on the record. He told what he did, and that's what it is. So Anthony, like I said, he had 2 court-appointed attorneys for this death penalty case. He had a couple of them that dropped out in the course of the case going through, but he ended up with Robert Obler and Linda Smink trying to get his ass off. And the prosecution, they laid out their case. They had the witnesses, including those rape victims that got away. They had the DNA test, they had the cops, they had the confession, so they had a pretty airtight case. The defense, on the other hand, said that the confession was fake and the police had made it up because there was no video or audio of the confession. They said that Anthony was a crackhead and would do anything for some crack, and when he was on the crack, he would crash out, but that wasn't his fault. You gotta blame it on the crack. And then they also blamed the victims. Yes, honey, they blamed the victims for their demise. His lawyer, the motherfucking lady, that Miss Smink, she stood her ass up there in the courtroom and said that because these women, because of their profession, they knew the risk, that they put themselves in harm's way every time they opened up for business. So why blame Anthony? Ooh, girl, you trifling as fuck. Girl, Miss Smink, you's a bitch. The prosecution closed saying that these women were not dead because they had a crack problem. They were dead because Anthony had a killing problem. Now, mind you, the defense, they ain't put up witness the first, and Anthony's puss ass for sure didn't go nowhere near the witness stand. He let his lawyers do all the heavy lifting, and they was trying to put all the blame on the police and the victims, his background, everything except Anthony. And the cherry on the top of this shit show came when Anthony's attorney said that he was not receiving adequate treatment in the prison for his HIV, which was basically giving him a death sentence. Wow. So you was out here assaulting these women with the dick of death? Lord Jesus, today. To knowingly take your penis out on tour, knowing you got that package, is diabolical. But I guess maybe since he was killing them with his hands before his dick could, I guess maybe that made a difference in his mind. Trifling bastard. The defense, they closed their case by saying this: killing is wrong. And if it is wrong for Anthony, then it is just as wrong for us as a society. Wiggle, please. White folks say they wiggles. Wiggle, please. If you don't sit your ass down somewhere. This trial dragged on for 3 weeks, and it finally went to the jury May 31st of 2000. The jury deliberated about a day and a half before they found Anthony Balaam guilty of rape and murder of Karen Patterson, Valentina Collier, Concetta Hayward, and Deborah Ann Walker. Now, that all went down June 1st. 13 days later, June 13th, Anthony is back in the courtroom for the sentencing hearing. Now, this is a 2-day process, and Anthony did get up and say a few words. This nigga stands and tells the jury, quote, "I've been thinking about this every day. I'm sorry for the women who died. I also feel the hurt and pain of the victims and the suffering that the families are going through. But I ask you, all of you, to spare my life. Thank you." Nigga, please. Ain't nobody study you, Otis. Baby, tell me why they dug up old drunk ass Mama Betty. Anthony's mama. You remember I told you she was for the streets, baby. Ooh, I read an article that said one of the investigators who was looking for his mama, when they found her, she was just living in squalor. And while they were conducting the interview, she had roaches just leisurely crawling over her, and she's still sipping from some bright good. Just, ooh, Lord. And they took that and put it on the stand. And so I feel confident by saying that, yeah, Betty Puss ass was up there, indeed drunk, because when Betty got on the stand to testify on her son's behalf, the shit went all the way left. They asked her, "Do you recognize your son in the courtroom?" And Betty drunk ass said no. What? Anthony sitting right there. I mean, come on now. It ain't but 2 tables in front of you, mama. One of them got all yogurt yellows. That's the prosecution. The other one got one lone black man sitting there. You ain't think, I mean, that shit didn't compute that nigga that was your son. The one that you up in here with your right hand held high for. Betty, do better. Do better. Man, Betty was up on that stand playing all in them people's faces. She couldn't answer none of the questions they asked her. Did Anthony have health problems as a child? I don't know. How many grandchildren do you have? I don't know. When the last time have you seen Anthony? I don't know. Ma'am, go back home to the bottle. You good. They ain't had no business dragging your ass out there anyway. After that stellar performance from his mama, his female defense attorney, the one I was telling you about, Linda Smink, that bitch got her funk ass up and told the jury, "Don't kill him. Just put him in timeout for the rest of his life." And then this caucastical Karen pulled out the white woman tears. But wait. She didn't just pull out the motherfucking tears. She gifted them to Anthony. This bitch got up there and told the jury that the tears in her eyes weren't hers. They were Anthony's tears, and she was gonna cry them for him. Bitch. I done heard it all now. You can cry me a river. That nigga guilty as sin. Oh my God, she really thought white woman tears was gonna just make it out. This our last Hail Mary. This is what's gonna spike the ball for us. You know they can't resist white woman tears. Look, I got you. Girl, sit your ass down somewhere. On June 16, 2000, the jury decided not to schedule that murderer that murdered those 4 women. No, they didn't. So basically on this day, all they did was take the death penalty off the table. They still hadn't figured out what the real sentence would be just yet. And so they set a date for that to happen in August of 2000. But then that got delayed because they were waiting on the psych report, which was a requirement for all sex offenders. And so they kicked that can down the road, just delaying and wasting time until the new year rolled around. And finally, on January 26, 2001, Judge Thomas Kelly said he had heard enough. The prosecution had told him Ant wasn't shit and to throw the book at him, and the defense told him that Ant was abused and neglected as a child and his mama was an alcoholic and a hoe, so please be gentle. And Judge Kelly looked at Anthony and was like, nah, son, we gonna sit that ass down and remove you from society for good. And then he sentenced Ant to 4 consecutive life terms. And Ant just stood there looking drunk. Say that motherfucker eyes got wide as a goddamn silver dollar. And then he just swallowed real hard. But he ain't say nothing. And all that motherfucking smirking, oh nah, that shit was done. Think about it. This nigga gotta serve 120 years before he is eligible for parole. That's gonna be somewhere around 21. Now when he get his first crack, he'll be when he get his first crack at parole, he gonna be like what is that, 156? Yeah, that sound about right. They asked Anthony if he had anything to say. That nigga was drunk. There would be no words. Yeah, nigga, you have said enough. You have done enough. Sit your ass down somewhere and be quiet. Anthony Balaam is inmate number 000435471B at the New Jersey State Prison. His current parole eligibility date is set for August 4th, 2116. And that, New Nation, is the story of Anthony Balaam, the Trenton Strangler. Ooh, child. Another murderer that murdered women senselessly. And, you know, it just burns my biscuits when I read about these stories. Because these dudes are just so fucking regular. I mean, here we had Ant. Slight build, not aggressive or menacing by any stretch of the imagination. The kind of dude that, even as a crackhead, you wouldn't get alarm bells going off about. Now, understand, I am not friendly. My neighbors get a hand thrown in the air, maybe a head nod, depending on how I'm feeling. But even though I ain't the friendliest, I know the people that I see in my neighborhood on the regular. And Anthony was always bebopping around the neighborhood, always interacting in the hood. I mean, he was a regular at the crack house. The dope boys knew him. The neighborhood smokers considered him to be one of them. He was part of the fabric of the neighborhood. And not one person, none of these people who interacted with Anthony on a regular, up to and including his baby mama and his children, none of them ever thought that this nigga had a raping bone in his body. See how we can be wrong as fuck because we judging the book by its cover and not seeing what's beneath the surface? I mean, unlike many of our mayhem makers, Anthony wasn't a loner. He had a long-term relationship with a woman and had kids. This nigga somebody daddy. And yet and still, he out here violating women in the most despicable ways possible. I mean, rape is bad, full stop. But to backdoor rape is a sin and a shame for God. And to be HIV positive and doing this shit is fucking diabolical. I mean, there should be a special place up under hell for any trifling low-down scallywag that does that shit. And understand, I am not saying that he low down because he had HIV, because that's not the issue. No. It's him taking that infected dick and assaulting women with it and not letting them know that he was HIV positive during contract negotiations. I mean, it might not have changed the terms and conditions of the coochie contract, but then again, it might have. Free will ain't free when you ain't got all the pertinent information. And I'm going to tell y'all, in my heart of hearts, I honestly don't think Anthony started out wanting to kill anybody. I think that he had a form of Napoleon syndrome. Like, he wasn't a shorty per se, but that infected dingaling didn't work in real life like it did in his head. Because, you know, when you abuse drugs, they abuse you right back. I'm talking nothing but limp noodles in Sahara Desert south of the Mason-Dixon line. And the way I see it, with all his felonious shenanigans, the strangulations and the murderations, they didn't happen until after he was unable to get that thing to salute. And the women that had agreed to trick off with him was ready to go. I mean, shit, my guy, we here to transact. I done held up my end of the deal. We said we was playing Jack in the Box, right? Well, hell, the box ready. That motherfucking Jack ain't ready to get in the box. And so you gonna blame the women for your incompetent penis? I mean, I understand it ain't but a few men in my audience, but look, for the ones that see a PSA, if you know you got a tricky dick, stop taking that motherfucker on tour and getting in your feelings and shit, because ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, hell, they said Anthony was out there in the wee hours of the morning. That's when people are ready to go home and call it a night. Like, you can play them games early in the shift, but when it's time to clock out, motherfucker, it's time to go. Time is money, and if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And if that dog won't hunt, then you need to put his ass down. Open your mouth. What they say? A closed mouth don't get fed. Well, tell somebody what you working with so they ain't surprised. Cause, ooh, my Lord, that's a bad surprise. The absolute worst. You want somebody to lay here while you squirm that unhard ass dick and want somebody to act like you doing something? Sirs, just be honest up front. There's a less of a chance of you getting chumped off because you playing in somebody's face. Or rather, vagina. For me, this all happened because Anthony had poor penis management and zero self-control. He was like a child throwing a tantrum. In his case, a very vicious tantrum. And here we go with the nigga that nobody would have ever thought woulda or coulda been a raper that raped and a murdering murderer that murdered. Just walking around like ain't nothing happened. And it's crazy, y'all, because anybody can be a serial killer. Like, if this podcast is not showing you nothing else, understand that the most regular looking dudes, the crackhead ones that be at the store, the garbage man, the truck driver, the dude with the nice car, even the goddamn manager over there at the Taco Bell, any of them, they're potentially, it's there, possibly. Don't assume. That sorry ass, cracked out, limp dick ass Anthony was just another trifling scum of the earth, and that the city of Trenton was unfortunate enough to have been where this sick son of a bitch just so happened to be spawned. And because his dick didn't work, he took his embarrassment out on unsuspecting victims. I mean, fuck it, they was down for the pound. He didn't have to snatch him up. I mean, normally we be talking about these serial offenders who snatch women up, you know what I'm saying? But these were willing participants in the sexual part of this. I mean, the swapping of the sex for crack or sex for money. They was down. Let's do this. They was down for the pound. He didn't have to snatch them up. All he had to do was let them just go on about their business. Just a dumbass degenerate. Throw the whole goddamn family away, man. If ever there was a bloodline that needed to be wiped out, ooh, honey, this is one of the ones in the top 5. A goddamn shame. 4 women lost their lives because of his trifling ass. Whew, child, I got to go. New Orleans Nation, I got to go because, ew, just a mess. A goddamn mess. Let's talk about it on social media. Y'all know how to get at me. I am Melanin Mayhem Podcast on IG, Facebook, YouTube, and I am Melanin Mayhem PC over on X, and I'm also on Threads, Melanin Mayhem Podcast. I got to do something more. I be forgetting about Threads. Y'all know, child. Blame it on my head, not on my heart. It's just me. It's just not enough hours in the day. If email is more your speed, you can always drop me a line at Melanin Mayhem Podcast at gmail.com. So this week's New Orleans Nation shout out goes to Red Peach. And Red Peach left a review over on Apple that is entitled, "Hey there. Renee has my middle and last name, and we're both Gen X, the best generation, if you ask me." I agree with you there, girl. The way she tells a story is absolutely hilarious. I listen to her all the time. Many nights I fall asleep listening to her and wake up still listening. Ah, Red Peach. Ooh, thank you, boo. I'm so glad that you're listening. I sure hope you're listening on Spotify. Y'all know I'm still pumping that Spotify. Please and thank you. You can listen to me on your regular streaming services. You know what I'm saying? But do like Red Peach. When you go to sleep, just pop that thing on Spotify and just let it run. Thank you so much, Red Peach, for your kind words. Thank you for taking time out of your days and kicking it with the country girl. Appreciate you. Now go on out there and tell all your friends and family about the Melanin Mayhem Podcast. Please don't forget, please subscribe and follow over on Spotify. You can subscribe to the subscription service over at Supercast. That is Melanin Mayhem Podcast.supercast.com. I think that's everything. Don't forget the Facebook discussion group, and there is merch available at melaninmayhempodcast.com. Y'all, I have truly missed y'all, and it has been such a pleasure to be back with y'all today. But woo, I got to go, baby. So y'all know how we do. You know how we close the doors of the church. Y'all, please be safe and stay ever vigilant. And above all else, remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, New Orleans Nation, and your favorite country girl is out of here.
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that.
Wow.